Okay, so we understand XML and layout files and what they all are, and we know the syntax of writing XML, and we've actually been able to create some layout files or layout elements from scratch. So we are fully equipped now to just get started with building the layout for our BMI calculator. But not only that, as you're going through this in this tutorial, you should have a good understanding of what it is you're typing and why. So this is fantastic. So we're going to delete all of our dummy files that we don't need. So we'll get rid of this my test layout file. And if I just click over to activity_main, we'll also remove all this junk here. So let's get started with that. Let's go to my test layout file. We just need to delete this. We don't need this anymore. So over in the project pane, right click, and somewhere down here we have delete. And Android Studio is pretty good. It will check to make sure it's not being used anywhere, but we're not using this in any of our code. So pressing OK should search and delete that. No problem at all. Good. Okay, activity main. Let us now remove everything apart from the declaration at the top. Let's remove the whole lot. So we have an empty file and a little error which is complaining that there must have something, a root element, a root tag. So let's start with a linear layout. So do the left arrow and start typing linear, and we can auto-complete this. Okay, so we have a problem now. We also removed our XML namespace where we declare the Android namespace, the Android attributes. And you probably haven't remembered, and I don't think I know from heart, the URL to declare that. So how can we get around this if we're ever working with our layout codes? Well, let's just start typing an attribute anyway. I think we need layout height and width usually for our elements. Yeah. So let's start typing height, H-E-I-G. Okay, we have the option there. Let's press enter on that and see what happens. Okay, and then we'll do match parent. So look at that. It has actually put that in for us. So if you ever forget, just start typing the name of an attribute that you know and it will auto-complete that for you. That's super helpful. Complaining because we also need layout width. So let's do just that. New line, layout width, and again, match parent. This is our root element. This is going to be the first thing on the screen. So we want it to fill the screen. So the parent for this linear layout is actually the screen itself. So by saying match parent, it's going to be as wide and as high as the screen, and that is what we want. Okay, and the error goes away. We have a little problem, don't we? Because we need to put things inside this, yet we have a self-closing tag. So let's delete the self-closing tag and then just do a right arrow. Okay, that time we didn't get the autocomplete thing. No problem, this will be good practice. Let's type from scratch let's see what happens when we try to type from scratch the closing tag. Do the left arrow, and then it's the /, and look at that, Android finishes that for us, it knows what to do. So that looks pretty good. There's a useful little shortcut I wanted to show you right now. It's usually a good convention to have this namespace as the first thing after the layout, and this is all a bit of a mess at the moment. There's a very useful shortcut that you will use both for code and for Java code and for your XML files, where we can get Android to auto format the page for us. You can find it in the code item at the top. So code, reformat code. I do Control-Alt-L or whatever the shortcut is, Command Control-L on a Mac, Command Option L. So go ahead and either click that or do Control-Alt-L on Windows, which I will do, and that will format the document for us, and we'll be using this frequently from this point inwards. So we have our main layout container. This is the thing that things are going to go in. Let's just go to our split view. Okay, let's start to build this layout now. So a BMI calculator. Thinking about what we need for this, we need to have, well, certainly height and weight, the option for the user to type that in, and a button to calculate that. But probably a couple more things if it's going to be a proper BMI calculator. I think the indication for your weight, like if you're healthy or overweight, underweight, is different if you're a male or female. It's different depending on your age. So we'll include male and female selectors and age. And then we can maybe dress it up a bit with a logo or a nice picture at the top, and then like a bit of text just with our app name. So I've made a very crude image of this on Paint. There's probably a better way, but as we get into the course, we won't need to do these mockups quite so detailed. We'll be able to do it in XML. So let's take a look now at the design. Okay, there we go. See, I told you it was a bit of a crude drawing, but it's got everything we need here. So it's a nice high level, meaning just a very simple terms mock-up of what we're going to have. So we'll have some nice picture at the top, then we'll have some text there which with our app name. We'll have the option for these to choose male or female, something like that, and then they can type in their age, they can type in their feet in inches, and they can type in their weight in kilograms. I've decided on fixing it as feet in inches and weight in kilograms. It will make the maths that we have to do later on a bit easier if it's just one thing. Feet and inches is a fairly common way that people know their height. I don't think everyone always knows their height in centimeters. And also weight in kilograms is a simple way to have one field rather than stone and pounds or whatnot. We can just have kilograms there. And then we have a button and then some more text at the bottom. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of thing. We have things that are text, like the BMI calculator and the You Are Healthy Weight indicator. So that's text. We have these things, age, feet, inches, weight, which are places users can type in. They can enter text into them. We have a button. We have a picture, an image, and we have these kind of little check boxes, these little buttons which users can select. So we're going to go through all of these. These are going to be all brand new elements. And actually, now's probably a good point to start calling these elements something different in Android. So yes, in XML, the tags, they are elements. But in Android, specifically for the layout file, these are more than just XML elements. They're actually, views. They're actually types of thing you can see. So the actual things you can see themselves have one of two names. You can call them a view. They're commonly referred to as views, text view, image view. You can also think of them or call them widgets, a text widget, a button widget, not to be confused with the type of widgets users can get on their home screens, but widgets in the sense of things we can put in our layout. So you can call the text, the text entry, the button, you can call them views or widgets. They are elements, XML elements, but in Android layout files, these elements are more than that. And then of course our container, our layout, linear layout in this case, you can think of that as a container. By all means, call it a container, or you can think of it as called in Android a view group, meaning simply a group of views. So we have images, text, buttons, our views or widgets, and then we have our layouts, linear layout, constraint layout, our containers or our view groups. Okay, doesn't really matter how you refer to them or think of them, whatever makes sense to you. So before we get started building this layout in code, I just want to summarize the few final bits and bobs that we covered there. So first of all, the code reformat to save time tidying up all the line breaks and indents in the files. And this is for XML and for Java code, which we'll do shortly. There's a reformat code tool. You can get to it from the code menu, or you can do Control-Alt-L for Windows or Command-Option-L for Mac. I will be using this frequently. I recommend you use this frequently. It saves a lot of time. We know that the XML tags are elements in XML, but in Android they're a bit more than that. So the things we can see and interact with, like text and buttons and pictures, these are referred to by Android as views or sometimes widgets. Either's fine. Use whichever one makes sense to you. Okay, and then the layout elements, which can have other things inside them that can have contents, like linear layout or constraint layout, for example, that we've seen. These are called by Android view groups because they can contain, lots of views, a group of views. And you can think of them as containers as well. Okay, so take that on board. We'll be referring to this throughout the course from this point. Okay, let's get started.